on, Jeff. Read it again.
Okay. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Okay. Last night I learned how to be a lover of God, to live in this world and call nothing my own. I looked inward, and the beauty of my own emptiness filled me till dawn. It enveloped me like a mine of rubies. Its hue clothed me in red silk. Within the cavern of my soul, I heard the voice of my beloved crying, "Drink now, drink now." I took a sip and saw the vast ocean before me. Wave upon wave caressed my soul. The lovers of God danced around, and the circle of their steps became a ring of fire around my neck. Heaven calls me with its rain and thunder, 100,000 cries, yet I cannot hear. All I hear is the call of my beloved. Heaven calls me with its rain and thunder, 100,000 cries, yet I cannot hear. All I hear is the call of my beloved. It was probably Cliff that distracted her.
I had a little action back here too. Oh, thank you.
Hey, Jeff, do you mind reading that again?
As long as you play the tabla, it'll be fine.
I'll tell you, man, it's so good. That is really, really good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Jai Baba.
Sure, Jai Baba. Thank Rumi.
Yeah.
You're writing from the top down.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, there's Alan. Good. We can probe him.
It's
I
the
wonder
Jeff
if he heard the poem.
Poke at the wine barrel, you know.
Marta, don't start.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're funny.
I need to go and tend to dinner, so I leave you guys. And you do.
Jai Baba. Thanks, Betty.
Thanks, Betty.
We'll,
See you, Betty. Thank
Betty.
you.
we'll manage somehow without you.
I'm sure.
Hey, I got this poem here I'd like to read.
Okay, yay.
I don't know if my sound is all right.
It's a little low.
Is it a little low?
I'll turn my volume up.
Well, actually, I can.
Oh, that's better, yeah. Thank you.
All right. This is called God's Fools. The beloved scissors do not cut along the dotted lines of convention. He cuts lives to shreds and scatters them to the winds. His true lovers have no address in this world, though they can be found here and sometimes there. They have been stripped of moods and wander in a succession of states that have no past or future. When they appear to be plunged in grief, don't say they have lost something. They weep for what they cannot find. And when they dance in ecstasy, don't say they have found things you value. They are mighty rivers rejoicing as they meet the sea. Jeff Wolverton. Jai Baba.
Oh, tricky. Whistling. Oh.
Well, you know,
Thank you.
this poem right here is very meaningful to me because I just spent some time speaking to my mother, and she was talking about all the ways all the family members and other people who have the way they died in Lebanon to that blast was a lot of it had to do with glass and just a wave of air, just like pressure that just sort of took them out. And this poem to me just the beloved scissors do not cut along the dotted lines of convention. He cuts lives to shreds and scatters them to the winds. I just read that and I was like, whoa, like I just got off the phone with my mom. His true lovers have no address in this world and they've been stripped. And then, when they appear to be plunged in grief, don't say they have lost something. They weep for what they cannot find. It just is very, very, I mean, I just opened it up and it was right there. So thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, okay.
Whenever you wrote that, you did
I wrote
not need to.
I actually wrote that thing in about 2 minutes.
Wow,
It just kind of came right through.
beautiful.
I didn't even change a word.
Wow. When did you write this, or when did this all come out? Was this in the 70s, 60s?
I probably wrote that in about 20 years ago. Yeah.
The 90s, 20s, 2000s?
Yeah. Well, here's what happened. I wrote all these poems in about 3 weekends, and then Bao Shiri came, and it was so exhausting at the center by the end of his visit that I could hardly even sit up. I was so exhausted, and I never have written anything since. I went totally brain dead.
Yeah.
Really,
I can tell from the material. It's
these
not,
things,
not the
these
brain.
poems all came out whole. I mean, they just came out in one piece. I wasn't fiddling around and everything. They just came through. But after that, I just couldn't patch anything into one whole.
Wow. So you don't write poems anymore?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Maybe I will.
Ellen and Marta, that poem is so perfect for what you were just experiencing with your family.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
I can't believe it. It's like he wrote it for this, instead of 20 years ago. Wow,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm
it just
sorry
took me-
about the loss of your family, Alan.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
terrible.
extended family and friends. So
Yeah. Oh my God.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
terrible.
Well, and then yeah, it just I don't really know how to have a conversation with people that are going through, like my mom and my family all already have PTSD from going through war and seeing these images in person when in the 80s. So they're all like they're kind of on a loop, their mind. And I'm a step back from it because I didn't experience it myself, but
Uh-huh.
I can definitely recognize how that colored my upbringing even, or my
Sure.
just my younger
Sure.
days.
Yeah, of course.
Like
Yeah.
Holocaust, the children of Holocaust survivors.
Yeah.
Unspeakable.
Alan, let your family know that we're praying for them. I've said several prayers for them in morning, Artie.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I think when these kind of things happen, I just feel like when I'm do especially the master's prayer and such and other things like that, and I'm just thinking at the same time, kind of imagining those places or these experiences, people, it's almost like my heart feels like it gets that feeling again, like where where love just feels like it wants to give rather than it wants to take anything, and then it kind of builds up on itself within my heart. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to pray for others and forget about my own worries. Like, oh, I worked so hard today. You're like, oh man, well, I'm okay, and I'm really grateful for this, especially for everybody here, and yeah. So and Jai Baba.
Yeah, Jai Baba.
Yeah, but that was a perfectly 20 years ago, Jeff.
Uh-huh. No, I'd be driving into the center and some lines would come and I have to pull out a piece of paper and scribble something and I drive another 50 feet. Oh God, I better write that down.
Oh man.
They were just dropping in. That was really a neat state, but
That's how it is when poetry comes.
yeah. Pari, how are you? Pari,
Kalya,
are you
Kalya,
there?
saying hello to you.
Hello, Jai Baba.
Yeah, good. I wish we could see you, but you're just one of those black rectangles with a name tag.
I wouldn't know where to focus the camera, so I'm really sorry for not turning it on.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll let you get away with it this time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hey guys, I have one small poem of Rumi I want to read.
Yeah,
This is because I shared it wrong the other day, so I just want to make that correction. So here it is, very small, 4 or 5 lines. It goes like this. When you are with everyone but me, you are with no one. When you are with no one but me, you are with everyone. Instead of being so bound up with everyone, be everyone. When you become that many, you are nothing, empty. Jai Baba. Last time I missed that but me thing, you know. When I basically narrated saying that when you are with no one, you are with nobody or something like that. I mean, I just messed it up. So I thought
Prakash, would you be willing to read that again?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Really beautiful, but it takes my brain a moment to trigger. It's really gorgeous.
Well, I mean, it's also the way I read, but I'll just try to.
Oh
make
no,
it
you
better
read
this time.
perfectly. You read beautifully. You read better than Jeff.
yeah.
Here it is. Well, that inspires me.
Oh, good.
Thank you. So
Okay.
here it goes. When you are with everyone but me, you are with no one. When you are with no one but me, you are with everyone. Instead of being so bound up with everyone, be everyone. When you become that many, you are nothing, empty. Jai Baba. So here, let me paste it. I mean, so that you can read it in your own way and then feel.
I can write it down. Thank you.
Yeah, here
Wow,
it is.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really beautiful.
Oh, yeah, you've got it. How'd you get it there so fast?
How did you do it so fast?
Well, no. It's I like the book Essential Rumi because that I thought is very wonderful as done by Coleman Box.
Yeah.
And so today I searched, and fortunately there is this PDF that is out there on the web. You can just. I let me send you the link also. This is one of the best books I thought I read of Rumi. Not that I read as much as Jeff does, but I occasionally just jump in and then try to see something. Here is a link. And you all can actually, that's a PDF, so you can copy and paste and do things like that, yeah.
Hey, we've got 2 Marians. Who are the 2 Marians?
Hi, can you hear me? It's Marion Lewis in New York City, and my doppelganger, Marion.
Okay.
We live together. That's a joke. Because I come in on my phone, but I also come in on my computer that doesn't have a screen. I get listed twice. So thank you for asking, because I was going to say something. Next time I'm going to have a wonderful little story to tell. But tonight I just want to say thank you to everyone, because I live here in New York City. I'm quite elderly now, but very, very vital. And I live alone. With the pandemic, I don't get to see many people that I used to at the groups. So it's wonderful to be here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Good.
Jai Baba, Marian, we missed you seeing at Meher Baba house. It's
I know.
Here, yeah.
I'm so happy to see you on the screen. Yes, thank you.
You know, we got 3 Marians, but you say you're responsible for 2 of the Marians.
Yes, because it has a microphone, one crossed out, because that's where I'm on the screen, and then it has one with a microphone because I'm on my phone. But there shouldn't be 3. There's only 2 of me, I think.
There's one other one. You know, you're.
Oh, it probably lists my phone down below. Probably lists my phone.
Uh-huh. Well, we're putting it out. If there is another Marion out there, or maybe, you're a little schizophrenic and you got like several of.
Oh, I see. I don't know why it has 3 on there. That's very odd. I don't know why. I don't know why it's doing that. I have no idea. I think they're all me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to barge in. That's all.
No, good. Free to barge. I was thinking something that was very valuable for me in my life with Baba is, and I don't know where it's written, but Baba said the divine quality, well, he says that, yeah, the divine qualities that you acquire in this lifetime are never lost, and you carry them on to the next lifetime. In other words, if you reach a certain degree of patience in this lifetime, in your next lifetime, you just pick up from there on. If you kind of acquire a certain level of courage, fearlessness, then that you carry that on. They never diminish. You don't wake up and now you're you're terrified or panic stricken. If you have overcome certain degree of anxiety and overcome fear with courage, then that's part of Baba says it's an asset. It's not a liability. And the way I kind of look at my interior, the front part of me are all the negative emotions in the front part of my heart, the lust, greed, anger, jealousy, pettiness, meanness, all of that. But behind me are the divine qualities that are flowing in. And that's empathy, kindness, patience, generosity. All of those divine qualities are at the depth of our heart. And as those things, as we develop those more and more, they become permanent attributes of our interior life. And like I say, and they never diminish. So,
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just generally thinking about it. Generally, the feeling of love, it looks like, at least in my case and a few other cases I've seen, we seem to associate with some sort of emotion that goes with it. Is that a restriction? Because sometimes, unless you feel that emotion, that particular sensation, one might tend to think it's not love. You're trying to restrict it in some way to that some kind of emotion that runs in your, in your physique, in your this thing. Like some people tear up and do things like that. Now, is that a restriction to experience that love? That kind of thing.
Yeah. I think of love as I experience it is beyond emotion and feeling, but the love pours itself into those feelings. But you don't necessarily have to feel love in order to express love. Like I say, if you're in a situation where you have to hold your tongue for 45 minutes instead of blowing up at somebody, you're holding your tongue because if you blow up at them, you're going to hurt their feelings. So that 45 minutes of frustration is actually love. But you certainly didn't feel any love. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
This is Marion chiming in, because I know exactly what you mean. I teach a lot of this because I'm trained in core energetics, the body energies as well as the psychological, and that is Baba. Somewhere I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the exact quote, but Baba, it always sticks with me. The highest form of love is right action. It's not about emotions. It's exactly what you said, Jeff. You know, you don't come off at somebody with your emotions, and you sustain those. Not bury them, though, is the key, that they not get buried in the psyche and in the energy body, but finding an appropriate place to express them that can hurt no one, but is telling Baba, I am now going to express this, what that person triggered in me, and I'm going to let it rip. And that's what I do. I look at Baba's picture, and I say, I'm going to let it rip. This person triggered in me. It's not about them. It's about me releasing, so I can be filled with your light, love, and light. And so in training in the energy work, it's so important to let that flow through the body, not at somebody. And I'm so glad you said what you said, because Baba said the highest form of love is right action. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Baba
Right.
said to Arnavas, I didn't ask you to feel me, I asked you to love me.
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
In other words, and I've said this before, we could be, you know, we could be in completely depressed and in a very bad mood, but if suddenly there was a screech of a car crash outside, we would run out and do everything we could to try to get them to the hospital. So
Yes.
our act of love was not dependent upon our mood. It's on a different track. Love for me is on a different track. It's actually, love is beyond the sanskaras.
Mm.
Feelings and emotions and thoughts are in the sanskaras, and love is beyond.
Yeah. Yes, and as Baba said, we're here to balance our head and our heart, with the heart leading the way, and that is intuition, and that is God.
Yeah.
That's in the discourse. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have to think, but not intellectualize. We have to think and know what our heart says and follow the heart.
Thank you, Marian, and thank you,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Wow. Someone's getting a hurricane here. Yeah, I mean, love is, I think of it as beyond conditioning, but it has to express itself, unfortunately, through our conditioning. So it loses a lot of its purity by the time love comes through me. Baba once gave me this this vision. I won't say it's like a exalted, sublime vision, but it was something I was working on for years, where I feel like the ocean, the infinite ocean of love, is striking against all of us at this very moment. But by the time it passes through us, you know, it's just like a little rivulet, a little stream. What happened to the ocean? It's not like the ocean in the future is going to strike against us. It's striking right now. And Baba gave me this image of this guy. There's a guy that's sitting there on a chair, and the infinite ocean of love is just crashing down on him. And what he's got in front is a little spigot with a few miserly drops coming out, you know. And that's, you know, and all of it is used for selfish purposes. Oh, well, I need that energy I need that love for this thing, for my business, for my house, for my yard, for my garden. And by the time, and it gets, this infinite love that's coming through us gets siphoned off. Like, you know, like some cities where the people are hooking into the power source and they're getting energy for free, you know, by clamping onto the wires, you know. So, I mean, so that you meet someone like Darwin Shaw or the Mandali or Esfandiar, the love is coming through and it's not meeting much resistance. So it really flows through them very powerfully. You can feel the room fill up with the love that's coming through them, because you know, it's not running into so many obstructions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I like both answers. I mean, generally the same. It's all in action, basically. When you forget yourself, and I guess, I mean, that's the reality. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to be out of yourself.
And it's not, Yeah, it flows through us with hopefully as least amount of obstruction as possible. But what happens is, oh, I don't like that kind of person, so the love just stops because it doesn't like that kind of person. Or I don't like this part of town, so love stops. Instead of flowing, flowing through
Yeah.
everything. If we could flow through everything, we would be infinite. We would experience our own infinity. But
I mean, like Baba says, the whole universe is sustained by my love. So that energy, like you said, is always there. I mean, it's just going in all directions. I mean, it's just up to us to make use of it, basically, the way it should be.
some years ago, I was walking from the tomb to the Pilgrim Center across that field, and Baba, out of nowhere, flashed this to me. Putting it into English, what he said is, don't look at anything in this world unless you're prepared to send it love.
That again, once again, Jeff.
Don't look at anything in this world unless you're prepared to send it love. I mean, he was, he was kind of catching me on critical thoughts. I'd see the garbage on the side of the road in India, no one's picking it up, and a negative thought would go in that direction. And Baba's saying, don't look at that unless you're prepared to send it love. Don't waste your love. Don't waste those moments with being critical of this world. Use that to send my love and my love in my name at whatever you look at.
This is Marion. Can I share one more thing?
Yeah.
Because thank you, Jeff, for that. Because a word I love in this world, operating in duality, is contrast. And I sometimes say to people that, well, you have to know who you are not in order to know who you are, and you have to know what you don't want in order to know who you want. But see if you get back on the track. So when I have a lot of imposed, I have to be here in my apartment and so forth. And then when I get out, I'm near Central Park, and and I take my bike out. I ride through the park, the 6 miles. And so then at the end at 57th Street, there are these very, very tall buildings that they're being built to be like the World Trade Center buildings or something. And so those of us who don't want everything overshadowed by buildings have had something to say about that. Not mean, but some opposition, but they're being built. So when I see those, sometimes I have some judgments. If I'm just walking around, those big buildings, ruining the skyline. And then when I get on my bike, and I'm going down a hill, and I feel like I have I'm pure spirit. The wind is blowing through me. There's no opposition. It's all green, the color of the heart chakra. And I just say, Baba, 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 oh my God, oh my God. And I'm sailing down this hill. And when I see those buildings, I just love them. I love them. Everything's God. Everything's God. And so I'm noticing the contrast in me where I might be judging those buildings. And then when I am free and flowing, I love them too.
Yeah.
And it's not an emotional love. It's just an allowing, a being. Yes. So thank you, because it makes me laugh. The contrast. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's lovely. That brings it right down into the here and now.
Yes. Yes.
No, Baba at one point in a recent book called something like Glimpses of Guru Prasad, he says that we are really infinite, and I'm paraphrasing, and we look down and we see this mind and we identify with it, and then Baba says you become a person. If you wouldn't do that, you would remain infinite. What I mean is we let our consciousness be narrowed down. I mean, and I've said this before, Darwin, one of the early things he said to me back in 1970, he said, Jeff, you are not the personality self. The personality self, he said, is just a storefront for the soul. We make such a big deal of the window displays, and we change them with the seasons. when we could go inside the store and enjoy the priceless merchandise. So what happened, I mean, I was young, and he's saying that, I am not this, I'm basically saying I'm not me, what I thought of as me. I had to file that away and see if I evolved into the truth of that. But by taking my consciousness and stopping it and calling I'm Jeff, then the whole apparatus stops. And then it has to kind of work itself through me. But if I wouldn't identify so much with myself, that divine consciousness and love would just flow right through me without obstruction. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the way Darwin used to describe it.
Well, Jeff, when you were around like the Mondelez, for example, or around Darwin, or yeah, I remember one time you were talking about Fred Winterfeld and his capacity to sort of, well, not sort of, but his capacity to kind of pick up around what was going on with people, emotionally or mentally, or
Yeah.
I just imagine, because I haven't personally been around in my lifetime people who were so in contact, close contact with the avatar, like it's not that they're these, we're not talking about psychic, whatever powerful people. It's just like somebody like Darwin or somebody like Esfandiar, or these people who they're just totally human, but at the same time, like you say, their storefront is so almost like they're aware of the storefront, you know what I mean? And they're kind of working behind the scenes almost. They've been able to kind of go behind, around the kitchen and see the pipes and like, oh, this thing is not really as real as I thought it was, and sustain that for long periods of time. So what do you have any experiences that you remember, or just like moments when you were young, maybe, my age, and you're like, kind of had this experience of these people are not, something's up here, like there's something going on here where they're picking up or helping you in some way, or just where the wordless kind of help that they were giving. Did you ever present that to them, like, hey, how do you do that, or da, da, da? Did you were you questioning them all the time, and trying to figure out the way that they function with
Yeah.
their storefronts here?
Yeah, although one characteristic is at the innermost level, they were completely relaxed. Even though at a emotional level or a physical level, they might be in pain or something like that, but at some level they were stopped. They were very relaxed, and so things could flow out in all directions, and their personality. Darwin used to say, don't think of yourself as a base of operations, think of yourself as a conduit, as a vehicle, which is an entirely different paradigm. And almost everybody on earth thinks of themselves as a base of operations. I'm Prakash, and I'm the operator of this boat, and keep your boat from bumping into mine, please. And I mean, you got your little domain, but this is, as a vehicle, those things don't belong to you. They're what belongs to you is what's flowing through you, not the broken down guitar or violin that it has to flow through. I don't know if that.
Well, like, what's his name? God, I can't remember his name. Farshid?
Farshid.
Farshid? And I asked him, like, did Espana ever help you with any personal issues or mental crisis or something that you were going through at the time? And his response was something along the lines of, like, when he was interpreting for Esfandiar, he would feel his so expanded, such an expanded state that he felt sometimes it was almost too much for him to bear. Did that kind of thing ever happen for you around any of the monks?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
what does that mean exactly? Too much to bear.
well, I never had it too much to bear. Well, except being around Darwin, I would get into such a state of bliss that I never wanted it to end. It was like horrifying to think that it might end. So around Darwin, I vowed never to go up into bliss again. I just settled for simple, everyday, ordinary being happy. That's a very strong place, rather than going up to bliss, because then I'd be in this bliss and then I'd have to go to this nursing home where I worked as a nurse's aide. And, it was like crash landing, your plane in a forest. It was a shipwreck. I couldn't bear it, so I never went up.
Did it feel like you were somewhere and then you had to leave that place, kind of thing? Is that what?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And up and down.
A realm that went infinitely in all directions, with the most exquisite feeling. I can't even say feeling. It was something else. But I chose not to go there. I mean, I deliberately. I'd rather be on the street, at the street level with Bob.
Did you ever tell Darwin, like, hey man, what's going on here?
I actually never did. I never said, well, Darwin, I can't go up there with you. Or wherever he was.
Yeah.
But they were all hollowed out. They were kind of, that's what Baba did. He kind of hollowed them out so that Baba was the one really living in them, to the degree that they had emptied out their warehouse. Baba could live through them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've experienced that that kind of exposure in this lifetime, physically being in the proximity of. I mean, I don't know if I have. Maybe I could have been on BART or on a train or something and not known it, but oddly enough, the naturalness of Erich and Mani and all of them, I think, is even more. Their humanness, their deep humanness and naturalness was, I think, even greater than those vast experiences or those heightened experience. Naturalness is, and their deep humanness had the deepest appeal to my heart than like I say, anything with bliss and heightened experience. I mean,
So
go ahead.
What does it take to be really natural then? I mean, what is that made you think?
Yeah. Well, you basically, it's a process of elimination. You kind of drop away the unnaturalness until naturalness takes over naturally, in a way. And kind of the way we were as kids, we were very natural. Early childhood, the more we can get back to that, the more we reach that place. Yeah.
Well, I wonder if it's possible to really work at that if you're in a kind of barrage of like living in a city or having a full-time job.
Yeah, you have to move out in the country to be natural, No, I'm just joking. It's not an urban possibility. No, you may not even know. You may be quite natural without even knowing it.
Hey, Jeff and Alan, remember maybe a couple of 3 or 4 weeks ago, we talked about if one needs to purify the heart before, you get to love him. Something along those lines. And I thought I found a quote that I mentioned that I'll check, and I couldn't get it for a long time.
Yeah.
But I was searching vehemently, and then I got this one. This is the one I thought.
Yeah. Hey, wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. I'll be right back. I have to, at my age.
Oh, is that what you posted in the chat box here?
Yeah, the one I posted in the chat box. Remember, we were talking about, do we first have to clean ourselves up before we start actually experience his love and or love him? And here Baba, I think, is indicating, at least in one of the lines here, if I remember right, he basically says that you don't have to, work on purifying your heart first and then start loving me. It's almost like two independent paths. You can be whatever, but you can always love me, and that will help purify your heart. It's the other way around. So,
Prakash, it's Marta.
Yeah.
That I was just thinking that's a really, really good point. I think that all the efforting can be too much effort if you're just natural. And
Right.
remember Baba, then Baba will take care of all this, experiences, no experience, or thinking of him or not thinking of him. It's just saying his name, his name, and he takes care of it. So Alan, in case you're getting all concerned because you aren't at some place or something, just say Baba's name. He's going to take care of it. You're his, and that's the main thing. All these things that Jeff is talking about are amazing that he experienced it and he's sharing it. But that's his path, and you have your path, and we each have our path with Baba. No?
Exactly.
I just wanted to say that. Prakash is right that, Baba's taking care of it all.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And we all have our own experiences for sure. I tend to be the kind of mind that's I just can't stop right now in my life at this point. I can't stop wanting to be. I have to move forward with somewhere, something, somehow.
Well, saying Baba's name is moving forward, believe me.
Yeah.
This is Marion again.
Yeah.
Hi, Marion.
I read a few years ago. I was walking around my apartment in that kind of like Zen kind of state, and I was thinking, and I read something about Baba's, something I don't remember where I read it, but Baba was saying, you don't have to give me garlands and you don't have to give me gifts and all that, just love me. And okay, so I've read that before, and then, but I was questioning, like, what does it mean to love God? What does it mean? And you'd think I'd never heard it. I've been following Baba since 1968, and you'd think I'd never heard it before because it felt new. And so I was wandering around and saying, well, okay, it means loving those you can't love, and I'm trying to remember all this about, loving God. And then the next day, so I let it go, but the next day I opened a book and I don't remember what it was. If anybody ever finds this, and it was some phrase in there that where Baba was saying, the way to love me is to know that I love you. And that's when this bell went off. Oh, a deeper, because I tend to be a person, not so much with Baba, but in my life in general, trying harder, figuring things out, that kind of thing. And now I'm entering into the phase of allowing, receiving, and I worked on this for decades, as far as digging around in it. But when I read that, the way after the next day after I was belaboring, well, what does it mean? I thought I knew what it meant to love. Baba. And then when I read that, the way to love me is to know that I love you. And I felt so much grace and so soft when I read that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Great insight. Yeah.
That reminds me of that story that you told, Jeff, about that guy who didn't know till his last dying moments that it had all been perfectly orchestrated, and Baba kind of gave him that gift right at the very end. Like
Yeah.
he'd done everything he had done was exactly perfectly for Baba and with Baba the whole time till that very last moment.
Yeah. That was Chuggin Master, one of the Mandali. Yeah.
Wow.
He never had the conviction that he led the life that Baba had wanted him to live. And he was one of the intimate Mandali. But on his deathbed that he realized, well, what happened when he was young, they were all kind of single around Baba, and he, I guess, was promised in marriage, and he got married, and Baba said, "Oh, now he's left the spiritual line or something." So he somehow felt that he went a direction that Baba didn't really want him to go. This is back in the 20s, and he died in 1972. And it was as he was dying, he realized that everything he'd done in his life and all the times he'd been with Baba, and because he spent so much time with Baba, it was all just, he played his part exactly as Baba had wanted him to play it. And he didn't have that conviction until the last moment. So he died in overjoyed. Yeah, time release.
Man. Yeah, you told that story because I was saying like how I'm like, does Baba really want me to be doing this day in, day out, like job where I'm typing in numbers and talking to people, and what happened to my dance, what happened to my acting, what happened to all poetry, and but then that really helped me. That was a good one.
Yeah. No,
I don't know this author, probably Leo Tolstoy or somebody. I heard my son quote. I mean, I didn't read his books nor did anything like that. But he claims that he has a thought, this particular thought, probably in his final moments of his life. And he said, "What if my whole life has been a waste?" That's a thought. I mean, after you mentioned about Chegan, I realized you don't want to be in that state, right? I mean, particularly at the end of the time. Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who die with that as their last thought. I mean, not Baba people, but I'm saying people who've been their whole life. What was I going to think? That was, oh, darn it. I just had something I was thinking of. Oh, it's leaving me. Hey, Janaki, how you doing?
You're muted.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm doing great. I just got off the phone and wanted to check in and see what you guys were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, we've covered a few subjects. It kind of morphs.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Responding to what Marta was saying Baba's name, there was one of Baba's Mandali named Sarosh who had been with Baba since he was 18. And he became a businessman. He was one of the people that helps support Baba's life financially. And Baba gave him, Baba would dictate, how they conduct their businesses. But his thing, when I met him in 71 or something, and he would say his whole life was saying Baba's name, and he would. I'd have to sit up a little bit, but he would make this gesture, Bob, 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 Bob. That was his whole thing, and so he came to. Darwin told me about this. He came to New York after Baba dropped his body in 1970, 71. And Darwin said he's, maybe 4 or 5 hours from New York City. The moment he touched the shore of America, Darwin and Jean could feel waves and waves of love coming from New York, from him. And then he went up to Boston, and they could just feel these waves. And Darwin and Jean came from Schenectady, maybe a 3 or 4 hour drive to Boston. As they got closer and closer, it was more and more powerful. These waves of love. And eventually they came to the house where Sarosh was. And what was he doing? He was sitting there at a table with a jigger of whiskey and looking at this brochure, kind of with a bored look on his face, totally unaware of what was emanating from him in all directions. I mean, Darwin said it was clear. He had no idea. He was so effaced because he was just saying his name. He didn't know the effect it had on the world around him. And incredible how powerful Baba's name can be, even if we're not even aware of how far it ranges. Like I say, and Sarosh was totally oblivious of that. He just went on with Baba's name coming through from his heart. So that's, yeah.
Does that, my question generally is, obviously hard to say, that experience of that, upliftment, does it happen to all the people around or just those who are aware that he's there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it goes into the atmosphere and lifts it up, but whether somebody picks it up on the radio or on their seismograph depends on how sensitive they are.
Yeah, I know. It's
it was definitely going out.
This is Marian. I always say about myself, not so much about other people, but it would apply to the extent that I'm unclogged is to the extent that I receive the light, my own light and others' light. So I always do a little bit of unclogging every day. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've heard that story before, but I've always wondered, did he feel the same way when Baba touched the shore?
Oh yeah, I mean Baba was like really high up on the Richter scale.
Well, I would assume so, but I just don't recall hearing him tell a story similar to that.
Oh yeah, no, he told a lot of things, but more privately, I guess, about the impact being in Baba's presence had on him. I mean, one time the men were there in 1954 at the 3 Incredible Weeks, and they were in the museum room, the room where the present day museum room, and Baba was meeting with these men. And at one point he said, "Let's stop and just look at me." And so the men, everything stopped and they looked at him. And Darwin said that he was looking at Baba, and very gradually veils were being removed. And Baba was more and more magnificent, until finally Baba disappeared and he was face to face with the ocean of divine love. He said, "You can actually see divine love."
Wow.
And then very gradually Baba reassembled himself and he was there sitting in the chair. He went from form to the formless, and then back to form.
Wow. Wow.
That's Yeah. If people wonder how can God be in human form, well, he can, but he can also dissolve back into the formless.
I always think that's so silly that people think that God can't come in human form.
Yeah.
Like, well, he's God.
Yeah, he's created the whole universe. He can certainly create a form that he can walk around in. I know, it's kind of like nuts. I mean, he created the whole universe. He created the earth. How could he not create a body for
Right,
himself and go around?
right.
No, God couldn't do that.
But at the same time, it would be hard. I can imagine that being next to him and trying to imagine, like, wait a minute, that's God?
Yeah. Yeah. Because Bob would have to remove the veils for you to actually see his divinity.
Yeah.
I mean, Baba's body was not like ours. His body was actually try to veil us from getting blinded by his light. His body's got a different function. You know
Oh,
what I mean? In
yeah.
other words, if he didn't have a body to kind of veil, or like sunglasses kind of veil
Yeah.
the power, the light, and everything come, we would just be overpowered, blinded. Yeah.
Wow. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. It's not a
Well,
regular body. Yeah.
yeah, that's a great way to think of it.
His body. Yeah. That, I mean, Monty used to kind of make hints like that.
Well, I was just listening to Sam Carawala, and he was talking about at the very end of Baba's life, the last few days, Baba said, I'm going to die of something that nobody's going to be able to diagnose. And he said he emanated such fragrance and sweetness, the smell at the end of his life, so unlike anyone dying.
Yeah. And he hadn't even bathed in months. They had to really struggle to bathe him, but he always had that fragrance emanating from him. Yeah. Wow.
The other day I read something on WhatsApp. I mean, those things that just keep flying back and forth. And they talk about a man who's currently living at his probably 100 and above. And they basically say his claim is that if you have no desires, you have no disease. So that kind of thing.
Uh-huh. Well, we know that's not true. Yeah, Baba. I don't exactly know what Baba died of, but he didn't die of good health. But it's true. I mean, I'm sure if you can empty out all the desires, you probably have a chance of living a little bit longer.
Well, probably you'd worry less,
Yeah, you'd worry less.
Worry ages you a lot.
Yeah.
Did Alan leave?
No, but he was counting his
Money?
his tips from restaurants.
Yeah, we just got some food delivered for the first time in
Oh, goody.
a long, long time.
Yeah.
But that's what that ring was when I was talking to you guys.
Oh.
I didn't hear it.
It's very loud to me on my side. Yeah.
Well, enjoy your dinner.
Yeah, we're all watching. Everybody lean up in the front of your screen and just ogle him.
Don't we get to see what it is?
Want to say hi?
Sure. Marion, you're missing out. I can't see.
Hey, good to see you.
Hi, Jeff. Hi,
Hey.
So this is Mary, and I have to go.
Okay.
And thank you all so much. Now, I assume you all live around the corner from me, right? In New York City? You're all my neighbors? Because I need some really good neighbors. So anyway, I'm just going to picture you being in my neighborhood.
Well,
Okay.
we're here twice a day, Marion. RT in the morning, RT at night.
Where do you
Oh, yes, I know. Sometimes I'm on it in the morning too. And
Okay.
I can't get on it every day, but I do when I can. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. So I'll say good night. Avatar Mayor Barbecue J. Bye.
Marion?
Bye.
Hey, Marion?
Yes.
Where in Manhattan do you live?
Upper West Side, West 95th.
Oh, okay. I used to live on West 94th and 100, 105th
Oh my.
and 82nd.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
Back in my college years. Yeah.
Yeah. I was born in Missouri and I got here. Yeah. So anyway, long time ago.
96.
So anyway, this has been very rich, and I was praying to Baba. I was praying about, because I've lost so many friends and moved, died, whatever, and I have some newer ones. It's not the same, but I had been setting an intention to meet that, because I've seen you all on here for years. I probably even met some of you here. Probably Jeff. I'm sure I met you years ago, and that is more like-minded friends. And it came to me tonight. The spark came in my right temple. Oh, that's what happened tonight. Is the like-minded friends, and this is not the first time I'm on Artie. I've been on Artie quite a few times. So thank you very much, and those intentions that are prayers are always being answered when, as I say, I unplug and allow. So thank you all.
Yeah.
Good night now.
Yeah. See you, Marion.
Yeah.
And take the
Okay.
three Marions with you. The other two Marions with you.
They're all my alter egos. Yeah, all of them. They all live here. Okay. Bye.
See you later. Hey Jeff, did you get a new shirt, by the way?
No.
It's a nice shirt.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those ECOT shirts, It's a type.
Never heard of it.
It's even got my tailor on there. You see that? Can you see the tailor?
Maher?
Yep.
Wow.
Maher Taylor. In
Maher
Ahmednagar.
That's great.
Neil, the guy named, yeah.
Yeah, you just have to go to India to get your clothes tailored every year.
Yeah, go to India. Your dentist is over there, and your clothier.
That's what I've heard. Dental and everything else.
I gotta get there first.
Yeah.
Oh boy, you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
In for a treat, Ellen.
Yeah.
You got last night. You guys were talking about Bao, and when he came to Chapel Hill in 2000 to speak is when I first saw him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. I mean, I had to go to India. There was just nothing. He just, Baba came through so loud and clear that, yeah.
And he's just sitting there kind of so relaxed, seemingly doing nothing, and yet, Baba does so much through them. Even got inspire you to go to India just by sitting there,
Yeah.
A lot of people couldn't understand quite what he was saying. I mean, his accent.
Well, I don't know what it was. I mean, I do, Baba, but certainly I felt so much love and so much like, yeah, I've got to go.
Yeah.
Where did you meet him?
In Chapel Hill. He was speaking at the Friends meeting house in 2000, the summer of 2000.
If you think of how the Christians, especially the Catholics, revere the disciples of Jesus, but I would get a laugh, like we would have these skits at the center where Bao Churi we dress him up like a boxer with huge boxing gloves, and we had this one guy that was really fat who would take him on, and you'd have this and referees in this big boxing match.
Uh,
Who would think that Luke or Saint Peter, you would do that kind of stuff with the disciples? Jesus. And one time we did a thing where um, we had one of his grandsons played the role of a therapist and asked him about how his life is and how and his employer and how his employer and I mean it just and Bao he would just answer honestly, but it was so obvious that this is a very dysfunctional relationship. You mean he wouldn't sometimes he wouldn't let you sleep at night, and then you'd have to sit outside his door and get eaten by mosquitoes, and he wouldn't let you use any mosquito repellent. And how much did he pay you? I mean, overtime. I mean, I mean, and he would answer these questions, and I mean, it was like, wow, what a profoundly disturbing, a dysfunctional relationship that he had, and it was hilarious. But
wow.
who would think that you would do this with, Mary and Martha and Saint Luke and Saint John? I mean, and
No.
yeah,
Well,
they,
that's the beauty of it, the irreverence.
yeah.
It's like we're allowed to be irreverent.
Marta, you used to go to those down the Sahavas in California, right?
Yes, I went for years and years and years. Uh-huh.
And didn't Jeff McGuire do some and
Oh,
Fred Shank?
hysterical stuff. It's actually on YouTube. Yeah,
Oh, really?
and the stuff that he made Bao do, that Bao was such a good sport. The Bobby Mononosh program. This would be, yeah, those were the days. And then Fred was the sidekick for Bobby Mononosh
Yeah.
on stage. Did you ever go to the Sahavas there, Jeff?
Yeah.
You did once?
I was invited out there one time.
You spoke? You mean as a guest?
Yeah. A couple of times, I think.
Oh, yeah, I've seen you on YouTube. That's great.
Really? Some people said I wasn't aware of anything was being filmed.
Yeah, you're filmed.
I must have met you the first time when I went to India with Randy. That was 1975.
Yeah.
So did you go to the Sahavas before then?
No, it was later.
After that?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was.
Long time
That's
ago.
why I say the naturalness of the Mandali and their just sense of humor was it appealed to my deepest heart. That it's nothing spiritual about it. It's just kind of human, deeply human love.
Well, Jeff, that Baba trained him too from being young. Even Mara would dress up for plays and they would play ridiculous. Goher was like a duck or some kind of goose or something.
Yeah.
Baba loved he trained him to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because he loved it. He loved the humor. I guess.
Yeah, and he liked all of the faux pas, all of the mistakes that they made. Some forgetting their lines, and that was some of the most entertaining things.
Well, I would have been terrible.
Or Naja was dressed up as a man one time, and her mustache kept falling down the whole time. She's having to try to put it on and stuff sticking. Those kind of things are the sheer entertainment, because they're serious about it. I mean, like, I gotta get this thing, I gotta get this mustache back on, and they're going through hell. Bob would get such a kick out of it. What?
Kevin told me that when Narayan was young, like 6-ish, that at the center, he put on a skit of they dressed Narayan up just like Bao, with the suspenders and the hair and just everything. And then he had a little microphone, and he would, so that somebody would ask questions, and Kevin would tell Narayan what to speak. And Narayan apparently had the whole accent and his gestures down perfectly. And I guess it was just hysterical.
Yeah, I
I
remember.
bet you it was videotaped.
He's very talented, Narayan.
Oh,
Quite
is
an
he ever?
exceptional person. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, geez.
Well, and next time they have a Baba play, I'd like to be in one.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Whenever that is.
Yeah.
I know there was
It's a-
one at the Myrtle Beach.
They used to make us in India about once a week. We'd have to do a skit for the Mandali.
Really?
Yeah, so we're always working on something. Yeah, I mean it wouldn't be the same people. The other people would come up with something, some kind of program. Yeah.
Ellen, did you say you were a dancer?
No, actor.
Theater? An actor. Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Adrian say I'm a great dancer too.
There you go.
Yeah. I used to love doing I mean I think I've said it before, right? Improvisational theater.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Where that's how I met Adrian actually. She came to my one-man show and I was playing three or four different characters.
Wow, really?
A few different side characters, you know, like UPS guy and somebody else, you know, but
That takes courage. Oh my God.
it was a lot of fun for me. I just lost myself. I would always lose. It was the only place that I felt like I could really lose myself. There was no more. I didn't have to think, and I would just I would like ride the waves of whatever the words were that were coming out. But whatever words were coming out were not, you know, random gibberish. They happen to be stories, like full, fleshed out stories. So that was a gift from Baba.
But tell us then what happened after that performance.
Well, I think I told this, but I'll say it again. So I did the whole performance, and I kind of just like, you know, really let it out, and and then it was the end of the show, and people from the audience like came up and, you know, were surrounding me, kind of this half moon, like, wow, that's a really great job. I'm just like, yeah, oh, thank you, yeah, okay, yeah, and shaking hands, and then out of nowhere, this woman with a bright orange scarf with Farsi writing on it cuts through the crowd and right up to my face. And she's just making like this crazy expressions, like really, really weird. And right up to my face and goes like, oh, you think you're the best thing in the world. You think you're the best actor, don't you? Or like completely mocking me.
Say that.
She was completely mocking me to the point where
My God.
everybody was stunned, you know, everybody was stunned. But to me, I instantly recognized, because she was looking right in my eyes, I instantly recognized her, and I feel like she instantly recognized me, and I immediately fell to the ground, like laughing so hard, like my knees buckled, like, you know, the kind of laugh that hits you where you just can't stand, and I was just completely laughing on the ground, like crying, laughing, and rolling around, actually, looking like a complete buffoon. And all these people started just slowly like, okay, like they didn't know how to handle. They're like, that's just kind of weird. Like this guy, you know.
You went off your meds.
Yeah, like he went off because I went from being this whole loony character. I was playing this really, really interesting.
You were like 4 different characters.
Yeah, I was playing this kind of guy that was a spirit.
You got it.
He was
no, but one of them was that you were this guy that just was like you broke up with your girlfriend or something. Or,
Yeah, the main character, he got broken up with, and then all of a sudden he had to.
He was really mad.
He was really mad. He was a very angry person, and he and he did and he felt like he didn't have any control over his life. And then he just happened to come across all these spirits and different people that would come in form, who were sort of undercover spiritual agents that would awaken him to
Wow, that's
the
cool.
next chapter of his life.
And then that weird old lady came into awaken you.
Oh.
Yeah, and then it really happened. And I just looked like, yeah. So that was pretty much it. That was the beginning of really this where we're at now.
Oh. Hmm. Did
That's
you ever
it.
find out who she was? I mean, was she?
Yeah, she's sitting right next to me.
Oh, it was you? Oh, it was?
Yep.
That's how I met my wife. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't tell me that part. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
God, that's amazing.
I love that question. So good climactic question, Marta. Good job.
Beautiful.
Well, she's sitting right next to me.
Yeah. No, isn't that beautiful?
That's beautiful.
Great.
Well, did you know her before she did that, Alan?
Didn't
No.
know.
I met him one time.
Oh my.
Like,
Well, you met your match, then she came up and did that weirdo face. That was good.
yeah.
I mean, she did it way more intense than I just did because
Yes.
I'm pretty like compounded with a lot of some scars right now, but she was pretty fluid and expressive, but
I
yeah.
had met him one time before.
Yeah.
I didn't remember
We
that.
were talking. You did.
Oh.
The first time we ever met was like, and we were standing out, and it was like after like a prayer meeting thing, and I don't go to them anymore. But anyway, we were talking afterwards, and I immediately like was so drawn to him. But then when he started talking, I hope this is okay if I say this, but I realized how young he was, and I was like, oh well, he's so young. Like I don't have to worry about this. And I was actually involved with someone. This is like the seedy backstory of it. I was involved with someone else who was like,
this is being recorded.
oh, it is okay. Okay, so then, but I was talking to him, and he was I was just cracking him up, and he wasn't expecting it because wasn't expecting a girl to make him laugh so much.
That's not true.
That is true. And then we went and saw him in this play or this improv thing, and he did his one man thing. But while he was doing it, I was just like, I felt like he was so familiar. So it was like the first experience of kind of goofing around with him, and making him laugh, and then being like, oh, well, he's so much. I'm sure he's like way too young for me, so I'll just, think of him as like a little brother. And then we started actually spending time together in the improv class, and that was
After the show.
Then I wanted to sign up for the improv class because it was so much fun, and I used to do improv and I'm an actor and stuff. So and then we started hanging out as friends, and we would just like spend all this time together, and then eventually we realized that we were supposed to be married. And it happened kind of like that. We were really hanging out, and then felt like, yeah, thanks, Prakash. It was like an arranged marriage. It was like, oh, we're supposed to get married. It was like, whether you like it or not, kind of a thing.
And then
It felt like Bob.
and then tell them when we got married.
And then we got married on January 31st, a couple of years later. Of the 50th, yeah.
And the marriage certificate didn't arrive until
February 25th.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that we're in Baba community lore. Our marriage story is part of the.
And our officiant's birthday was.
And our officiant's birthday, which I realized is later. This guy, the officiant, is a really good friend and a really wonderful person, but like looking back, maybe not the person that you want to officiate your wedding. It was just kind of like, it wasn't,
Positivity.
we're like some sacred,
being recorded.
he's no Jeff Wolverton, Charles Haynes type of person who's gonna like evoke the love of Baba and like lightning bolt you in the heart. It wasn't like quite like that, but his birthday was July 10th. So what are you gonna do?
Oh, wow.
Day.
No.
He's a
Wow.
wonderful, wonderful person. And
His
name
name's
is Jeff.
his name's
actually.
Jeff.
We couldn't get the real Jeff, so we no.
The
It was too last minute. We just
The real fake Jeff.
the real fake Jeff.
So beautiful. Yeah.
The Sanskaric Jeff.
Going back to himself.
Yeah, and then we flew back, and then we got married, and the next day we flew into Myrtle Beach, the center, and
Peter Goodman got us flowers.
Peter Goodman gave us flowers, and that's when that's when me and Jeff had to sit down for a couple minutes.
That's when Jeff and Alan, I think, fell in love.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, you were sharing poems or something, and I was like, this guy.
This guy.
This guy.
You had already met.
Yeah, the first time.
But it kind of.
But you were so busy the first time we went. I didn't get to sit down with you and talk for too long.
We were so lucky that you were there and you were hanging out with us and.
No, you guys are great. That was beautiful. You're coming.
Well, you can't miss Jeff at the center, right?
Milling around, malingering.
Jeff, hi everyone.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share this about you, Jeff. You know how you said this what you shared one night, well, you've shared a lot, but one of them that's really stuck is the sense of belonging you had when you went to India so many times over the years, from the Mandali, that sense of belonging. Yeah. Well, I think you exude that at the Meher Spiritual Center, and how you are with people and your attention to everyone. And I've noticed it not just with me and my family. So I just want to thank you for being that example at the Meher Center. Yeah.
Well, thank you. No, I mean, really, the Mandali, I found the greatest thing they gave to me was the feeling of belonging.
Yeah.
You know, and at the time, you know, things would be kind of a little extreme. I had the thought, I remember my first trip, you know, Baba loves everybody, but does he actually love me? I mean, specifically me, you know, but the Mandali, they had such love for us, such real, that by extension, hey, if they really love me the way they do, well, Baba, by extension, Baba must love me. They've finished that problem, eliminated that problem from my consciousness. Yeah. But the feeling of belonging, I think, is the greatest thing that we can give to others. You know, really, because if you belong, if you know you belong, you could be in a ditch, freezing, cold, and hungry. But if you belong to someone, it is infinitely more bearable than if you're in that ditch and you haven't got a friend, you haven't got anybody.
Yes.
You know.
And this world strife right now, people are in strife and suffering, and so much of it, at least in America, I sense this disconnection with family, this disconnection with extended family, or well, in my work, you know, Jeff, I see a lot of that disconnected between, like, let's say the teenagers or the young adults with their families, and or even older folks with their parents, and so there's a sense of isolation that can
incredible.
Yeah. So I agree, this sense of belonging. And I remember too with the Mandali, you know, how generous they were just with their attention and their love. You were in front of them, you were their focal point, and they gave all of themselves to you. That's how I felt.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
I was always amazed that, they had their focus on Baba for decades and decades, one pointed focus, and trying to do whatever Baba needed help with, needed doing.
Yeah.
And then Baba dropped his body, and what did they do? They turned that same attention that they gave to Baba all those years on us. They could have just gone into a room and thought about Baba and everything, but they turned that and directed that toward us. And to me, that it's like we're meant to be personal. The theme of this Advent is to be personal.
Yes.
To be,
I agree.
yeah. Look what it did for us. How deeply it fed our heart to
Yes.
have that kind of feeling of belonging. It's the soil in which people can grow
Mm-hmm.
in a healthy way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, people say, I don't belong. I don't belong to these people here, the Baba community. Well, if you extend belonging to others, you will belong everywhere in this earth. If you
Ooh,
extend,
that's a good Jeff quote.
yeah, if you wait around to belong, you may not experience being belonging. But when you extend belonging to everyone and anything and everyone, then you belong in this earth. You belong wherever you go.
Yes.
Fact. Even the dog says,
Jai Baba, guys.
Yeah.
He's loud. He's loud.
I got to go. I'll see you guys
Yeah.
tomorrow.
See you,
Jai Baba.
Prakash.
Bye, Prakash. Thank you.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Thank
Baba. See you in the
Jai
morning.
Baba. See you in the morning. Yeah.
Bye, everybody. I'm going too. Bye, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. See ya, Marta. Hey, Marta.
Hey, Jeff.
Did that thing I sent to you, did that make sense?
Yeah, it
I
was.
mean, the thing about a little bit about suffering in Baba.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
You're trying to explain it to me. Yes, beautiful. But
uh-huh.
then we talked after that, so that's why I didn't respond on another email because we talked for so long. So
Yeah. No, I didn't know whether yeah. I didn't know whether it made any sense. Sometimes I sit here in the evening on the trip and I just type these things out.
yeah, some people like at night they start drinking and having wine or having their booze. Well, you're intoxicated with Baba by the end of the day, so you start writing stuff. I love it. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, sweet dreams, everyone.
Yeah,
Jai
see you,
Baba.
Marta.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Hey, well, it's getting up to
Yeah.
12 o'clock.
Getting
Yes.
pretty late. I got something to read if you want
Yeah.
to hear.
Yeah. And Jackie, I've seen you there.
Jacqueline.
Nice to have you there. There she is.
Actually, just
Jackie, her family owns an island here
Cool.
off the coast of South Carolina.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think
Wake
you're
Island. Yeah. And it looks like the center must have looked before they developed it with the cabins and everything.
Yeah, it's the way all the coast used to be here.
Yeah. Okay, Ellen. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So this is Meher Baba all it says is from Meher Baba from an interview. Everyone is unconsciously tired of this life because everyone seeks happiness but knows not how to get it. But life is so beautiful. It is meant to be happy. I will help you. Then things will appear changed. You will see it. It is always the outlook that counts and not the object. Today, you feel tired, upset, seeing nothing beautiful in the things around you in life. If tomorrow you do not feel bored but cheerful, the same things that appeared black yesterday will seem changed. It is all due to changed mentality and outlook. The easy way is not to make much of things. Take them lightly. Say to yourself, I am meant to be happy, to make others happy. And gradually, you do become happy yourself and make others so too. Don't suggest to your mind, I'm tired, haggard, depressed. That will make you feel worse. Always say, all is well and beautiful. I will be happy. I will help you spiritually. Always say, all is well and beautiful. I will be happy. I will help you spiritually.
Yeah. Those are
I
those.
love that. Where is that from?
I'm getting this from Over the Years with Meher Baba by Bill LePage.
Oh, okay.
Page 95.
It's
90.
also from these interviews that Baba gave in the 30s in Europe. I think it's called The Answer, maybe the book.
The Answer.
There's a line that I like where, to the pure in heart, the world is pure.
Wow.
To the pure in heart, the world.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what Bob is saying there in a way.
Yeah.
If you think it's beautiful, you know, if your heart is beautiful, then the world is beautiful.
Yeah.
If your heart is bleak, the world is bleak.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard to do given the way the world is today.
But Baba said repeat that, right, Alan? Where you read? Say that. He said, say all is well and is beautiful.
Yes, all is well and beautiful. I will be happy.
I will be happy. All is well and beautiful. I will be happy.
Then he himself says, I will help you spiritually.
I keep that quote on my desk at work.
Really? Oh my
yeah.
God. Like I need to say this every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have used that last week, but you know, I got it now, so.
Yeah.
All perfect timing.
Yeah.
He's right. He's right.
You're just a couple of days behind the curve.
I can't believe it. It's just like he's just saying, don't suggest to your mind. He didn't say don't tell your mind. He said don't suggest to your mind, I am tired, haggard, and depressed.
Yes.
Just make it worse. I didn't really think about that until.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's actually very critical. I mean, because we are actually inherently in a state of joy and love. You know, and if we can get our consciousness out of being caught up in the sanskars and getting it over into the love, hey, that's our state. That's our real state, not this sanskaric state. You know, if you say I'm miserable, well, you're just basically letting, looking at the sanskars there that are miserable, and you glom onto those, and then you become miserable.
Well, when Baba says, and I know we're trying to leave here soon, but in the discourses when Baba says for the task for spiritual workers, I know there's one part where he says you have to go down. Sometimes you have to go down to the level of
the
those
people you're helping.
That you're helping, yeah. And so someone who's like my mom, for example, she was on the phone with me, kind of going in circles with the storyline of trauma and grief and stuff, and I just found myself, rather than trying to tell her or offer advice or push in any direction really, I just sort of like, I was just thinking of Baba's face, or thinking of Baba, thinking of like garlanding all those people who she's talking about who have died or who have been injured, and me doing that internally. She just sort of like sputtered out from her mind space over to you know, when I just was like, can I share the prayers with you, or do you want to hear them? She's like, sure. You know, and it sort of helped to just for her to just hear the sound of the songs and the Gujarati party, and so I just it's like I don't have to figure it out, but I think I talked with her. You know, I was like talking with her. I was like, oh, and what happened there? Oh, that's terrible. Oh, you know, going into it, but then and feeling it, you know, in myself, but then. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, yeah, I still feel the sting in my heart of the sadness and the grief, but they're it's not the same way where before, you know, if somebody tells you some bad news, it almost feels like a dump truck, like somebody just dumps something on you, and you're like, oh, and then you don't even know why you feel bad. You know, you get in a fight with your partner, and you're like, just get off, you know, and you don't even know that you're carrying somebody else's, like, you know, whatever it is. But I think like Prakash's quote from Discourses, volume 7, or what is it?
Yeah.
Edition 7. That the one that's in the chat box here. It's just like that is just so perfect. The master out of the if the disciple loves the master out of the fullness of his heart, his final union with him is assured, and he need not worry about the quality of his love. Just despite his weaknesses, just basically just Baba is that source of purity. He's the one that's working on all that.
It's a kind of come as you are party.
Yeah.
Baba, you know, you don't have to clean up everything. You know, there was one guy, there's a guy named Nashwan Nalavala, and his father was Keki Nalavala. And during the new life, Bob was up in Dehradun, which is where Keki and the Nalavalas lived. And Baba wasn't seeing anybody at that time. As a rule, you know, during the new life, they were kind of cut off. He had never met Baba. And Baba had been there for a while. And one night he went out with his friend, and they got a little bit drunk, you know. And lo and behold, when they're drunk, then they get the call from Baba to go meet Baba. You know, of all the times. But he said by the time he got to Baba, I mean, Baba's presence, it just all vanished. The effect of the alcohol just disappeared. But he was kind of stricken of all the times Baba should say, now you can come and see me. But, you know, it was clear that Baba, you know, that Baba picked the moment. Come as you are, you know, you don't have to have everything all cleansed and enemas and everything, and you're ready to come.
You don't have to be all purified and or holier than thou.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Hey, okay, I'll see you guys.
Jeff.
Keep the faith.
Sorry I wasn't there on. Sorry, I've just been working on stuff, so.
Oh yeah, no, this is. I mean, we're just, you know, it's just tavern talk, you know.
Got the tavern talk.
I'm coming.
The tavern because
Oh, sorry.
Bar room.
I'm organizing all my Persian music.
Yeah.
Good night, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah, see you guys.
Good night.
Okay, Jai Mehr Baba, Jeff.
Jai Baba.
Jai Mehr Baba, Jeff.
Yeah. Oh, good. Mayor Chand.
Yeah, Jai Mehr Baba.
Oh, Jay Baba. So have you been listening all this time?
Yeah, all the time I was listening.
With such a straight look, a straight face, you've been looking at.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, much
Jai Mehr
love.
Baba.
Bye bye.
Yeah.